Hello everyone, it is I, Julian, aka the Scream King, here doing my very first director's commentary for my short film, Devil Child. It's wild that it's about to be 4 years since Devil Child has come out. I thought this would be a really cool way to kick off October by, sharing some of my thoughts of what it was like making this short film. I had planned to do this during COVID, so it's been long overdue now to finally do it, and I'm so glad that I'm doing it now. Now that I'm used to doing my podcast and really enjoying doing these audio type videos, and I'm excited to share how I feel about Devil Child today. Well, alright, let's get this shit started. Right away with my lovely intro that I made a very long time ago. Yeah, I thought this was really cool. I remember thinking like, well, I want to have my signature logo pop up for the beginning, and I wasn't sure just to have it plain and simple just right in front of the screen, so I thought it'd been really cool to showcase, it coming at you on the screen. The Scream King production, no longer Scream King Productions. It is now Alien Clown Productions, a film by me. Yeah, this was really cool to make this opening sequence, making it very dramatic, very spooky. By far, one of my best shots I have ever done. I remember we were just doing like test shots around the backyard and stuff, and then I had happened just move the tripod to the house, and I thought, oh, that was cool. I don't really storyboard. It's not really my thing. I'm very much like on the fly of how I feel, and sometimes of course I vision things. That's how we do it, but that's I kind of just do things on a whim, especially at this time when I wasn't really educated on this stuff. And there's Anthony, and he is not naked. No, we made sure of that. He is not naked, but it was pretty funny to do a shower scene and to create this opening title sequence. I'm not against doing title sequences and having opening credits and closing credits. Definitely helps push the runtime, but I think it also just helps with the pacing and setting the mood and stuff. So I very much was on board with doing all this. Now this song, I was really into Mac DeMarco back in high school, and this was a song that I really liked of his. So I tried finding covers and found this beautiful cover. I forget who the artist is here, but it's a beautiful cover. So I was like, this is like great. It's like making me think like, well, is this guy a victim? Is he a serial killer? But obviously we all find out later on. I think this was the last thing we shot. Now that I think about it, I remember this. Yeah, isn't ironic, right? The very first thing. Yeah, I think this was like the last thing we had ever shot, and it was pretty funny. Love the way I color graded this. That was something I took so long at. Still have that speaker today. It's really funny. I remember when people were watching this and they were telling me that they got like American Psycho vibes from it, and I was like, that's so funny because I get I understand why. Obviously, I think that's how American Psycho starts in the beginning, right? Is a shower scene, and it's like American Psycho is like the last thing on my mind. Another shower scene. This honestly might have been the first thing we shot. I wasn't sure if it was either this or Kane's death. Wasn't sure which scene was which, but I know it was that same night. Loved changing the colors. Pretty interesting. To switch it up. That this is nighttime, but yet it's yellow, and then during the day it was blue. So I think it's really cool. Ooh, there's me with my little cameo. This was a way for me to dip into like doing something psychological. I remember when I had made my Tiffany fan film, and really I made that Tiffany fan film just to kind of see where I was at. I remember I had just gotten my camera, the one that we're using here, and I remember it was just really popular at the time to make those videos. I knew people really liked them, so that's why I made it, but it really wasn't what I wanted to do and wasn't what I was like fully proud of. But This was me dipping my toes into doing something more original, I say in air quotes. But no, I think this is very much an original story, even though it's very much connected to a franchise in a way, right? But we'll find out later. That was a cool little moment there. Clearly, we had filmed Kane's death maybe right after this, or days or weeks after this, and it just didn't think about cleaning up.
Hello. Hey, I've been waiting for you guys all day. Are you guys ready for tomorrow? What do you mean you can't come? I've been planning this all year. Oh, you think you could be cute? On my very special day, huh? I'll have you know, I killed my family for this. So it better be worth it. And you better have everything.
Yeah, this scene sucks. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of this scene. I remember just
I don't
thinking
expect
like
slacking from you fools.
I know
You guys
damn well
know
Anthony
this,
could
so
bring
come on,
more. You
fess
want to
up.
see range? Watch
Okay?
Ghost Boys episode 11. He can bring much more range than this, but yeah, this scene isn't my favorite. I wish I could have made it a little more interesting. That's why I figured in Angel of Death I kind of wanted to do it again, and we'll see how I feel. I honestly haven't watched these,
Better be here tomorrow with me.
fully in quite some time, so
Okay?
it's pretty funny watching them
Or
again.
else it's your ass on the line. And don't forget, I know who your families are too. Don't bullshit a bullshitter. Okay? Don't fuck with me.
Very interesting shots here. I don't know why, but they're very interesting. Obviously, this was, like I said, I'm very much on the whim. However, I'm feeling in the moment, especially at this time before I really would, prep for stuff. Yeah, so clearly this was after we had filmed Kane's death, and I wish the blood would be a little. I guess it takes place years later, it wouldn't be as dark, but it's pretty funny. I remember we tried just finding pictures of Sam when he was a baby, and so the one he gave us, I was like, all right, this is the one we're gonna use. All nothing but exposition. Still have that red beanie till this day. No, this was a lot of fun to do. I remember I really wanted this to be like really sick and really twisted. I get like a lot of inspiration, especially at this time. This was in 2019. I remember this was right after Hereditary, and I was just so inspired and just like in awe of that dinner scene in Hereditary. We all know it. If you don't know, if you know, you know. And I wasn't trying to channel that entirely, but it was definitely the vibe and the inspiration here for what I was kind of wanting to execute.
Are you gonna eat? I'm not hungry.
I do remember it was pretty funny. I remember Sam's grandma, she's like in the other room and she's like sleeping, and I think we were like trying to be quiet, but I think this still came out pretty good.
You know, if you don't eat, then you'll die.
What?
Well, you're obviously not eating. Did you know the human body can't last longer than 3 weeks without eating or dehydration?
I'm sure I probably looked that up or something.
Why would you say something like that?
So as you can see with like Kane's clothes, I was trying to, you know, put some little, I guess, Easter eggs or clues as, what was going to lead up towards the end. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you know the end that this takes place in the Purge franchise. I'll get more into that when I talk about Angel of Death, but yes, obviously the Purge takes place, so I wanted to incorporate like colors like red, white, and blue. Kane's wearing a red beanie with a blue flannel, and he's wearing a Green Day shirt. I figured maybe like, when I think Green Day, you might be thinking of like American Idiot or something. And also just because I usually have a lot of my characters dress up the way I do. Very much Kane is very much what my attire is, or definitely was at this time. Just a band shirt, a graphic shirt with a flannel and a beanie.
What? Just eat the food, you fucking little shit.
Do you like the way it's contrast here? All these different heavy contrasts on them.
Well, not eating your food won't bring
I feel like I would have added maybe some green or something today. I'm a huge fan of green. That's why I really kind of went at it with Angel of Death. But I feel like I really channeled a lot of different stuff with this here. I think I always incorporate different styles from other decades into my project. The thing that's like Domino's. I'm sure we were probably eating that night and we're like, oh shit, we gotta save like at least like 2 slices. We don't have to make sure we don't eat them all. Here's probably my favorite Nirvana song, Heart Shaped Box. And, I've really wanted to find covers of all the music because it's a old Shane Dawson trick I learned a long time ago to, just use covers of songs to not get copyrighted. And I was lucky enough to find an Evanescence cover, which is fucking awesome. I love Evanescence, so it was cool. It was really cool also doing this, like I guess you can call it a dream sequence, a fantasy sequence. Really wanted it to be softer textures and, have the, different color grading towards it. I love how dark and, heavy the contrast is, especially on Jude's eyes here. You can barely even see his face. Yeah, this was a really cool sequence to do. I really like how this turned out. And also, just, I'm a huge slasher fan, so just to incorporate blood somehow, we don't have a lot of characters, and we want to incorporate more kills, or don't want to just have one kill. I know I don't always have to do it, but it was just it was like, well, let's just have a fantasy sequence with Jude here. Kind of reminds me of, it was in an episode of American Horror Story. I'm not sure which season it was, but it was where this woman gets poisoned. I think that's probably what I was exactly thinking of filming this. I was also really particular of how I wanted the aspect ratio coming around this. I was really inspired by like, I think it's 2 to 1 aspect ratio. Now I'm really into 4:3. It's really been kind of my thing. I don't know why, just something about it. When we were filming the teaser for this, I just had this weird like vision of like Jude putting a knife to his head. No clue why. I just kind of said, all right, just put the knife to your head. And that's what, turned out for the teaser. I really like how the teaser came out when we did. I remember I was struggling to make the official trailer. Trailers are really hard. They're really hard to make, especially if you don't want to give stuff away and, make it intriguing. But this was like the most exciting, was to film Kane's death here. I was the most excited and probably the most nervous, but obviously we're gonna kick right into how that turns out. Now this was really important. As you can see, there's an American flag back there. I think it's pretty big. I feel like it's kind of hard to miss, but I don't know if maybe people did miss it or not. It's so funny because like I was very much into giallo horror, especially at this time. But it was literally just these are just lights I had in my room. I always just wanted clear lights, and I remember right when we were getting ready to film, I just kind of just took them with me. I wasn't even planned. Originally, this was all planned to be in a shed outside, but when we planned to film there, I remember me and Sam had went inside the shed, and there were rats in there, and we were like, we are not doing this. Oh, I love that shot. That's a good shot. But yeah, so there were rats in the fucking shed. I was like, no, we can't do this. We'll have to just do this in the garage. And I remember, I think in the original script, I wrote that there was a disco ball lighting up. I think I don't remember. There was like a disco. I just know I wanted to incorporate lights somehow, but this was way better than I had even imagined. Just the mixing of, the reds and the blues. It just all works out. I think it makes it more twisted. I think that like Jude set it all up just to, set it all up in his favor to make it look pretty, I guess. But yeah, this was just awesome. I'm very proud of how we went through this. This was fun. I remember we kept fucking up trying to take the take the bag off of Sam's face and all this stuff.
Come on, do something, you little bitch. Come
I really wanted Sam to give it his all. I was like, "You are about to be murdered. I need this to be genuine." And this particular shot we're about to see here, one of my favorite shots as well. I remember it was specifically, I think I even had to like pull up a video. It's the scene in Texas Chainsaw 3D. I forgot the character's name, but it's the scene where she has like the chainsaw behind her and she's screaming like crazy with the duct tape on her face. That's exactly what I envisioned, and that's what I wanted Sam to do, and I thought he did pretty good here. And that's a real machete. We of course we use real weapons. It's very low budget here. But of course we were always careful. I think we never really ever had accidents or like broke shit, at least not that I can think of. But yeah. Don't do that, kids. Don't use real weapons. But obviously we're a bunch of amateurs here with filming with our friends, and he's also getting slapped as well. I was like, I want this to feel real. I know it sounds intense now. I wouldn't really do it today, but it still worked. Now this was pretty intense, I remember just thinking like, well, it would be cool to have a strobe light. Like I said, usually it's always on the whim sometimes when we do these sequences. I do wish I would have at least put like a warning. I know I put something in the description, but I don't know if people pay attention to descriptions anymore, but I do wish I would have put like a strobe light warning, but that knife stab looked pretty good for what it is. Clearly it's a fake knife, but yep, yeah, see, he really does get slapped there. It was really hard to find good stabbing sound effects that sounded real enough, but I thought I pulled it off. I remember getting like chills also, like editing this, filming it. I was like, really excited, but editing it and seeing how it was coming out and finding the right music, it was just, I was like, no way. This one I was really careful with how I edited it. There's like these little moments here, like I know whenever I think we're about to see it here, I think I do like a weird, yeah, you can kind of see it's like a weird like fade in. I don't know why I did that, but I thought this really came out good. I remember I was like so focused late at night editing this, trying to make sure everything added up, and I still think this came out really good and really fun. It's also a really cool like cover I found. It's a Disturbed cover I found. If you want to listen to the soundtrack, I have it also on the channel because I was really proud to share the soundtrack because it was really cool. And then here it is, the reveal of the devil mask. I know you can like a lot of the props, of course, we would get at either like Spirit or at Walmart. Oh, I love that shot. That was really cool to have his shadow back there. And I remember, yeah, just telling Anthony to have a good maniacal laugh. You know, I think he was channeling the Joker here. Yeah, I remember I really wanted to have a shot from outside. It would be really cool. Obviously, we had better lighting to see the whole house, but at least it looks like, you just see the window. But this came out really cool. This is really funny. I remember, like I said, we were in high school, so Anthony was getting ready for homecoming, and so I was like, "Oh no, shit, you're like in a suit." I don't even know if this was in the script or not. I think I was like, "We should like film outside." Like these are this will work because those are real crosses. Those are animal corpses down there. But I thought it all worked out. See, this is also what I'm talking about when it comes to like my style. I always feel like my style when it comes to like my stuff in my videos is kind of, I guess, misunderstood. Of course, I love the 80s, just like right here. This is like very 80s. Look at that with the VHS filter there. Happy birthday, Jude. I think it was. I was just like, I think I had to include that because I was like, do we even mention his name? I was like, I don't think we even mentioned his name, so we had to include that. But anywho, as I was saying, it's like, of course, I love the 80s, but I like to say my style is more like an evolution. I'm into like so many different decades. I'd say anything before like the 60s, I'm not really into, but everything past the 60s, I'm very much into. Like the scene here or just the scene that we just saw before. Felt very 70s to me. And then the scene where Kane's uh, death with the poison, that felt very 2000s. Like I said, like I'm into all different types of genres, because it's not really the case. I don't constantly always just think of the 80s when it comes to my style. This was really cool. I remember thinking like, well, we should see what is he gearing up for. He keeps talking about this special day because it's his birthday coming up. Maybe he's trying to kill. He's even crazier on his birthday, but we end up finding out later on. Like I said, these are all my clothes. All the clothes that my characters wear, they're all clothes of mine that I actually wear. So I was really particular what I wanted them to use, and I remember thinking the scene also came out pretty well when I was editing it because I was just getting chills to see how it was gonna turn out after this. Surely does take a while, huh? Oh, those orange socks. I still to this day don't know why I had him wear them. I think I just wanted something that would pop out with his wardrobe, but I think it's kind of campy, I guess. And this was pretty cool. I remember thinking like, all right, well, what's going on here? I remember genuine chills while I was editing this scene. I think I just didn't want to do cutaways. That's why I do these like weird fade transitions. And there it is, the big reveal. You know, it was really hard to even come up with the title. I knew I always wanted it to call. Oh, what's up, Xavier? I knew I always wanted to call it Devil Child. Oh, and then there's my brother-in-law. I remember I was chilling with him, and I was like, "You want to help me out with a video?" And he was down to do it. And there's Chai and Sansi. There's a little Danielle Van Dyke. I always wanted to incorporate Easter eggs for my other projects. I thought fucking Xavier looked badass with the pig mask.
Blessed be our new founding fathers and America, a nation reborn. May God be with you all.
Yeah, this was just like, wow. Like I said, I was really struggling to really come up with a title. I knew it was going to be called Devil Child, but I was like, should I call it The Purge Devil Child and reveal it at the end? But I'm so glad I stuck with my gut and just called it Devil Child, because this was such a crazy reveal, and it's really cool to see what it was going to kick off to next, because originally this and Angel Death were both, it was supposed to be just one movie. This was an awesome cover I found. Originally in my head, I wanted White America by Eminem to play, but I couldn't find any good covers, so thankfully Till I Collapse, this really dope rock version of Till I Collapse, came up. See, this is also because I'm a really big fan of the first Purge, well, Purge 1, I mean, and I wanted to incorporate that smiling mask. I feel like it's so underrated, and I really wanted to do something with it. I actually was supposed to use that mask for a different project. There was a web series I did called Stage Fright, and I had planned to do a sequel for it, and that was going to be the mask that we were going to use, and I kind of just knew it wasn't going to happen, so I thought, well, I really want to use this mask, and so I painted it, this Purge mask, and that's what it came out to be. Oh, I'm always a sucker for revealing the title at the very end. And there it is, that was Devil Child. Can't believe it's been 4 years. It's definitely been 4 years since we filmed it. About to hit the 4-year anniversary this year, this October. And I'm so proud of this. I think I did a really good job. Like I said, there's just those little moments, little acting moments and editing moments. And it was just, I didn't always prepare for these things. I just did on the whim, and we did it. And I'm still fucking proud of it to this day. I remember being so proud, and I remember showing, I remember coming back. I remember my sister had gotten married, and I came back to my hotel room, and this was like a couple days after Devil Child had uploaded, and I was just bombarded with messages of people saying that they saw it, and it just warmed my heart, and I was so glad that people liked it, and I was just even more excited to gear up for what was to come next. What we struggled with the most, though, because I knew I wanted to incorporate how are we going to show this as a chapter 1. We at least got to have footage, but I really didn't have like anything for a post-credit scene. So I just had to really drag out this moment here with Jude in the garage, just staring at the machete. I think that's what he does. He just stares at the machete. And yeah, this was the only way to incorporate, like, well, there's still more. Don't worry. You got to come back for chapter 2. A lot of Giallo inspiration, especially at this time, with the heavy saturated colors, creepy music box. I think it's supposed to be, oh, I can't think of it right now. It'll come to my head. Yeah, this was just like my only way to include. I'm like, well, I don't know how to prove to be a good post-credit scene. So yeah, I think Anthony's just like, well, what else do I do? And I'm like, just walk away. But yeah, this is to introduce chapter 1. Ooh, well, that was fun. It was fun going down memory lane. I remember having a blast making Devil Child and was so proud of it, and I still am. I'm still very proud of Devil Child. I think did a really good job. Little did we know what was to come while we were making Angel of Death. Angel of Death was definitely much more. It was more of a struggle, but it was just because I wanted it to be bigger. But can't wait to talk about Angel of Death in the next commentary, guys. Thank you so much for listening. This was so fun. I'm so glad to be making videos again and, just trying to be more inspired by stuff, which is why I am currently in the process of making my newest short film called The Beast Inside. You can check out the trailer now. And like I said, I've been doing these audio videos. I have a podcast. Please listen to it. It's been a blast. Been talking about nothing but horror movies and everything going on with all the horror media today, and just having a good time shooting the shit, being inspired again. And so thank you guys so much for listening. Also subscribe, follow me on social media, at X the Scream King on Twitter and Instagram. And thank you guys so much for listening. If you want me to do this again, got any questions, hit me up. And check out my newest podcast called The Final Stab. And send suggestions. The comment box is still there. I'm desperate for suggestions. Thank you guys so much for listening. Bye.